I am here with Smoke Dixon. Smoke, the dust is finally settled. You got Bryce Underwood flipping from LSU to Michigan. You got Deuce Knight that ended up going from Notre Dame all the way to Auburn. Ole Miss tried to get him. Talking about all the top quarterbacks in this cycle, who, in your opinion, and I know you love this guy, who, in your opinion, is the most day one ready guy this cycle?
Bryce Underwood. And I don't think it's close in terms of being an impact player day one. Going in, he should be the starter. But you can't do that. Just put him at the number 2 for maybe a day or two. And once you do that and see him go through, yeah, he should take off. Because he shows you the ability to be a dynamic playmaker on the edge, but also he plays in the pocket. And when you're in the Big Ten Conference and you're a mobile quarterback, you now add that extra pressure and become a conflict to that defense. And they're going to surround him with good receivers on the outside because receivers are going to want to come play for him. You know what they can do up front. You know they can run the ball. So Bryce Underwood, to me, ahead of that guy.
Brady Hart decommits from Michigan, lands at A&M, decommits from the 26 class, flips to the 25 class. He's going to be 16 years old when he gets to College Station as an early enrollee at Texas A&M. What can fans, what can the staff expect from him upon arrival? Well,
you threw that age in there. Hey, throw age out. Right? It's getting into college and understanding how to play the position. And he understands how to play it from the pocket. So for a guy like that coming in, the days of sitting down quarterbacks and hoping that you develop them down the line, throw that out the window. You're going to have to create a package for him. And if you have Marcel Reed as your guy that's going to be the mobile, dual-threat quarterback, now you have a guy that can play within the pocket and run a traditional offense through, which you can see him in this film go through full field reads, half field reads, but also be a progressionary passer to throw with touch, zip, and also make the right decisions.
My guy Deuce Knight was texting me all week telling me Ole Miss was still pushing and pushing. Texted me 7 a.m. this morning. He sent me the eagle emoji, said he was locked in and he's going to sign with Auburn. Obviously, very highly rated, big-time talent. His progression, his growth has been tremendous. What can Auburn fans, what can Deuce Knight expect once he gets to Auburn?
Well, you have a player that can impact your team day one as well, too. Because his ability to be mobile, now again, adds that. And I'm going to keep on saying mobile, because that's the greatest equalizer in college football. Unlike the NFL, you have the field and hash. And now you can play with the wide field and also run zone read to that side or help your quarterback out and give him only reads to the full field side, the larger side, instead of having him throw to the boundary. And when you do have him throw to the boundary, it makes it easier because it cleans the picture up. So for a young guy like Deuce, yeah, he can play. Because you know at the end of the day, if he ever gets in trouble, he can put foot in ground, get vertical, and pick you up a first down. Or you've seen him with the ability to now extend those and be an explosive runner down the field and very physical to get those extra yards.
I just kind of want your take on one. Bryce Baker, he's committed to UNC, not likely to sign today, kind of waiting to see how things pan out at North Carolina with Mack Brown leaving. What do you think about not only the potential of him landing at North Carolina, but also Penn State's in the mix? What do you kind of think about him as a player, but also those two landing spots?
Well, give you a little backstory of Bryce Baker. I had Bryce Baker in camp with his dad. And forget the physical attributes, which you're talking about. He's a mature young man that knows how to play the game from the shoulders up. When I say from the shoulders up, nothing really scares him. His clock is never sped up. It's slowing down. And when a quarterback's clock is slowing down in the way that they see it and the way that they can read the field and understand progressionary movements, open windows, understanding man and zone concepts, understanding how to throw with touch, timing, and accuracy to the proper shoulder, proper hip, or hit you on the face mask to make you run, that's where you can see him take advantage of his skill set. But either school that he goes to, if he goes to North Carolina, he's home. And when you're home, you have that creative advantage of being that superstar in your backyard. And that helps, because as much as you want to say that these young players are thinking about going to the place that fits them, it comes down to ability to get money, publicity, right? And now become a brand. So North Carolina is that case. But you take them up to Penn State with Andy Kotelnicki. Genius in my mind in terms of unlocking the quarterback position. Look at Drew this year.
Yeah.
Drew played outstanding. And when you have Bryce Baker playing with that, my goodness, he gives you that opportunity to run vertical, horizontal routes, but you also give him the ability to put foot in the ground and be a mobile guy.
Oh, man. Smoke Dixon just cooking right now. Let's throw it out to Director of Scouting Andrew Ivins for his 5 for 5 on the quarterback position. Andrew?
All right, Andrew, moving on to quarterbacks. Husan Longstreet is your Mr. Upside. Why is he the pick?
Well, Blair, I think he's got the best velocity in the class, right? Big 11-inch hands. And he's also a dynamic runner. I mean, he's a super twitched up individual. You see him in person, veins anywhere. He's dealt with injuries throughout his career. So I think the biggest thing is, can he stay healthy? Reminds me a little bit of Jalen Milroe in the sense that when he's on, he is on, and he can really attack that second level, can also beat defenses with his legs. As a junior, had 5 rushing touchdowns in a game. So I think if it bakes all together, we're looking not only at a potential star on Saturdays, but potentially a star on Sundays.
You talk to the coaches at Corona Centennial out in Southern California, and they will tell you that he's only scratching the surface of his potential. From one player that we saw at the Elite 11 finals over the summer to another one, the field general among the quarterbacks is Julian Lewis. Andrew, tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kid that reclassified from 2026 to 2025, but he's still going to exit high school with over 10,000 career passing yards in Georgia's highest classification. I call him a point guard back there. He might lack the elite physical traits, but he's an elite distributor of the football, frequently in sync, in tune with his wide receivers, can throw with precision and anticipation to that first and second levels. He also can look off defenders. He's gone 36-3 as a starting quarterback. This kid has plenty of field command. I think he can step in potentially and play in 2025.
Now on to maybe my favorite category among these 5 superlatives, the most slept on. Andrew, we get this message in our Twitters and Instagram accounts throughout the year, throughout the recruiting cycle. Malik Washington from the East Coast is Mr. Slept On.
Yeah, a bit of a rankings outlier for us, but we love him. And we can't wait to get him down in San Antonio at the All-American Bowl. He's an elite athlete, a kid that was actually on my freaks list, but he wants to win from the pocket, and the way he moves kind of reminds me of Cam Ward at Miami. It's so nonchalant, doesn't really panic, and he can take off and produce some chunk plays, but he's great at buying himself time, got way better at protecting the football as a senior, and he's going to exit high school having won 3 state titles there in Maryland, 32-3 record. I think this guy has a ton of potential, and I can't wait to see him play on Saturdays.
This next player was maybe slept on early on, but has really risen across recruiting boards in the country. Jaren Keave Sangapolutele from the state of Hawaii broke a lot of records out there in the Aloha State, and he has the best deep ball in this class as well.
Blair, man, you say his name way better than I do, so I'm not even going to try to repeat it. I don't know. There's something about lefties throwing the football. Greg Biggins always brings this up. It just releases different. It looks different. Salapatoge, I think I'm close there, a southpaw that passed Dylan Gabriel as Hawaii's all-time leading passer this season. He can absolutely dial it up from the pocket. You turn on the highlight tape, he's a tower back there. He's throwing it 40, 50 yards down the field. As a senior, 70.5% of his passes were completed, 46 touchdowns to go against 3 interceptions. I think the thing that really stands out here, 15.98 yards per attempt. Since we've been tracking that the past 3 years, that is one of the highest marks we've ever seen from the high school ranks.
Sangapolutele. That's the accurate pronunciation there for one of the best prospects nationally. Getting a lot of Michael Penix Jr. comparisons as well. Let's get out of here with the best runner in this class, and that's Ty Hawkins.
Yeah, I mean, a ton of options here. You got Kamario Taylor, Deuce Knight, Bryce Underwood, Keelan Russell. I'm going to go with Ty Hawkins, and he's got more career rushing yards than all these guys, sitting at right around 2,500. Big-time multi-sport athlete. Could have played college baseball. Has gone 47 feet in the triple jump. That's one of the best marks we've ever seen for a quarterback. I was at IMG Academy back in August. Some of the coaches there are like, hey, he's got the juice, and I think that's the perfect way to put it for Ty Hawkins. One cut-and-go type of runner. He's going to give defensive coordinators fits at the next level.
Jaren Keave Sangapolutele is a guy I know you've already mentioned on this show. You're very excited about. We heard Blair and Andrew Ivins talk more about him, but what is it that got your juices flowing with him?
You know, I remember when Blair wrote that article about him in June, going into the Elite 11, about how he could be the next great star. He got quotes from Dylan Gabriel, who was his favorite quarterback, whose records he broke. He broke Timmy Chang, the head coach of Hawaii's record. He broke Tua Tagovailoa. There's been this run of left-handed quarterbacks from the state of Hawaii, and, you know, Jaren's the biggest and the most physical of all of them. He's bigger than Tua was. He's much bigger than Dylan Gabriel. And this is a player that the jump he made from his sophomore to junior year was big. But the jump from his junior year to his senior year was even bigger. And that's why he's been the #1 player in the state of Hawaii for so long. But now he's made that move up the national charts. And when Cal got his commitment, it was kind of fortuitous how they got his commitment. They had Robert McDaniel, who ended up signing with Arizona today. They had him committed, and on Memorial Day, he flipped to Arizona. Well, 5 days later, Cal got Jaron to come to their camp. His only offers at that time, the only schools that really pursued him were Utah State, Boise State, and Oregon State. So Cal says, hey, let's make a move for this kid. They got him to commit a month later, and then knowing that they were going to have to hold off all these other schools, Georgia comes in, Oregon comes in. I mentioned that Dylan Gabriel, well, that's his favorite quarterback. He grew up an Oregon fan. There's been a long history of Hawaiian quarterbacks that have gone to Oregon. Marcus Mariota is another one. Extremely talented player, a guy that's just continued to ascend up the charts and made the senior eval be so important for him, and that's why he made that move from outside the top 247, just outside the top 100, and continues to have a chance to move up higher.
Maybe one of the most important prospects that we haven't talked about enough. I mean, you think about it on the West Coast, you're talking about Cal and Oregon and how that kind of factors into it. You look at Oregon's quarterback room, Dylan Gabriel out after this year, Dante Moore now there coming over from UCLA, Austin Novosad, what happens with him. But this guy can be the future signal caller for the Oregon Ducks. And you talked about that strong pull, the relationship that university has with the state of Hawaii. I mean, you think about Gabriel and Marcus Mariota, both those guys wearing the number 8. It means a lot. And you saw these two really bond with each other at the Elite 11, obviously have a very close relationship. But he was one of those guys. We went into it and we're just like, all right, here's this guy we're going to have in the mid to high 3-star range. You looked at him with a completely different lens. And then I always talk about this. Can you take that momentum that you built from that event and take it on to your senior season? He's done that. He's capitalized on that. And honestly, he's been one of my favorite players to watch this cycle, just the way that he's been able to develop at the position.
Another favorite for you, Malik Washington. Let's go back over here on the East Coast. What is it that's got you really excited about QB5?
They're all my favorites at this point. But Malik Washington,
I'm going to say one of your favorites probably at least 12 times on this show.
Malik Washington is one of those guys that Andrew highlighted. And, we have 4 quarterbacks in the top 32. 4 guys with 5 stars next to their name. The first guy off outside of that conversation is Malik Washington. And I think a lot of people would look at Deuce Knight, they look at Matt Zollers. There are a lot of names that we've been talking about throughout the entire cycle. But you look at Malik Washington, 6'4", 215 pounds, got a basketball background. This guy's 33-3 as a starter. Andrew talked about it. He's done a lot better job taking care of the football. And I got to give a lot of credit to our guy, Hudson Standish, who was a big fan of Malik Washington, Smoke Dixon as well. The more you watch him, the more you kind of fall in love with him. Not everything's perfect, but in terms of playing the position, a guy that's proactive, not reactive, he is, in my mind, people think about DJ Lagway, probably the most important prospect to a coach last year in the 2024 cycle. Who's more important than Malik Washington to Mike Loxley in this class? And this is a guy that has the ability to step in, play early, and I think can really make an impact from day one. So I like his chops. There's teams after him. Penn State was after him. Notre Dame, I think, kicked the tires on him after they had an opening there at the quarterback spot. So, Malik Washington, one of those guys from the DMV staying home, that means a lot.
Yeah, we love hearing from quarterbacks on this show, and our friend Tom Loy actually caught up with Malik Washington earlier this week. Let's listen to that conversation.
We are now joined by top 100 quarterback and now Maryland Terrapins signee Malik Washington. Malik, thanks for joining me today, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
You and I first spoke back in February of 2024. And I remember talking to Director of Scouting Andrew Ivins about your highlight tape, your junior film, your basketball highlights, which blew our mind. And then you go on, you have a great offseason, leads to an Elite 11 finals invite, 2025 Navy All-American Bowl invite. You are now here today signing with the Maryland Terrapins. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, it's kind of surreal to be here. It's been, a long time coming. Just getting to a point where I can say, I accomplished one of my goals of becoming a Division I college football player, and it's just amazing.
You led your team to a state title this year. Congrats on that. You had 24 touchdowns, 4 picks, an incredible final senior season. You are now set to play at Maryland for head coach Mike Loxley. What tipped the scales amongst the Penn States, the Oregons, all the schools trying to flip you down the stretch? Why did you want to play at Maryland?
I mean, that's where I made my commitment originally, and that's why I kind of took so long with my commitment, because I wanted to be sure that So the same things that, made me want to go there in the first place are the same things that are keeping me there. The family, aspect of it, being, right around the corner from everybody. And just like the genuine vibe that I get from, being up there. I feel like I connect with everybody up there really well as far as the coaching staff goes, and I can see myself playing there.
And I want to throw this in there. Your rise has been incredible. For the Maryland fans, the casual Terrapins fans that haven't seen you yet, maybe they're following football, not recruiting. Give me a quick self-scouting report. What do you do well, and why can they expect great things for you and Maryland over the next 3 to 4 years?
I know it's kind of generic, but I make plays. I mean, no matter, what the situation is, I'm going to do everything that I can to make the best play possible, whether it's with my legs or, beating somebody from in the pocket. I'm just going to go out there and give them all every play.
And your hard work got you to this point. Like I said, state champion, incredible senior season, but you didn't do it completely by yourself. Take a second, show some love, say thanks, whoever you want. Who helped you get to this point?
I mean, there's just so many people to name, but definitely, my mom and my dad, Coach KP, Coach Aaron, like guys that, have been always there for me, especially my family. They're my rock, all of my family, really, from cousins to aunts, uncles, nephews, like whoever it is, like no matter what I'm doing in life, they're always there to support me. So just a huge thanks to them for getting me this far.
Could not be happier for you. I told you at the Elite 11 finals that this moment was coming and you were going to prove that you're one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So congratulations. Maryland's getting a great one. And thank you for joining us here at 24/7 Sports.
Sir.